Hey, what's up, Alliance? I haven't been on here in a few days. It seems like I actually missed chat in general for a couple of days. I don't know where the time exactly went. Seems like I always say this, but like there's a cold ripping its way through my household. It's like my little sister left, and the kids kind of passed it on to us, and it just seems like it's kind of one from the next this year, like little flus and stuff like that. Like nothing terrible, but yeah, enough medical stuff like that. Just like I said, I missed a couple days, and it seems like I was catching up on stuff. I think I caught up on Alliance chat. Tamir, those are awesome videos about the X forms and everything like that. Like X is the man as far as like NPCs go. Like just like the titles and stuff he has is awesome, which is also a reflection of the game that he plays in. But we won't get into that too much. Great video series though. Enjoyed watching it. Sean, I was talking to Keith. I was like, I watched your first video. Kind of meandered a bit where where the point was going. I was like, wait, where is he going with all this? Like, there was a little talk of spirituality and everything, and I was like, wait, how'd that turn into potentially writing a real world universe for things? But the destination was what was important. So I definitely get you on that. I wanted to think. So my initial I should probably just go through and watch everything that's been happening in the project channel, but I'm still catching up with that as well. So I gotta probably today or tomorrow, probably today. I'll read through it and see what's going on, where you guys are at so far. I talked to Keith a little bit about it during one of the downtimes in the session he had the other night. And I said, my theory with it is, and take this with a grain of salt because I'm not someone who knows anything about this industry, but I thought because I know Korean said like screenplay is the way to go. My theory with it is with the way like Amazon and stuff like that works now, and how it's much easier to self-publish a book. That you start with the book, self-publish it, and if it takes off, then you can work on the script, and it'll be easier for the script to be picked up. Like, I feel like with the way things work, with the way media, specifically movies and videos, tend to work, new IPs are very kind of tricky. Now, like I said, maybe I'm kind of out of touch with what like Netflix does, and I mean I have Netflix and Hulu, but like maybe I'm out of touch with how they get their originals, and if there's a good place to like kind of put out your screenplay or anything like that. But like I feel like that was like, what was that, not necessarily very good fantasy novel, like Aragorn or something like that, about like the kid with the dragon. I actually never saw the movie nor read the book, so I didn't really it didn't really like strike my fancy, and I'm a big fan of everything fantasy. But it was written by a younger kid, or a younger guy at least, and it was picked up and made into a movie. Like that was my kind of thinking with it. And like I said, that was just like an anecdote that I had picked up along the way, that I was like, oh, that actually seems like a smart idea, is to if you want to go that route, write something, publish it, and if it kind of takes off from there, then the screenplay would be easy as you have the source material. Whereas just starting as a screenplay, like I think like the thing is, everyone has their ideas, and untested IPs for to basically get made into things are a little bit trickier, or probably a little bit harder to get picked up. Like what's it called? Like The Witcher coming to Netflix and everything like that. It's based off of like the game made them famous, but it's based off a series of books that that kind of made it really big. And it's like a lot of those fantasy settings. Like I feel like, I guess to be fair, like Bright, I think, was based off of a screenplay and not a book. So I'm kind of meandering here. But yeah, like that was at least my thinking going into it. Now, like like I said, this is not speaking with any kind of authority on it, so someone can feel free to correct me. But that was my thinking. The other thing I will say is, it's probably not a matter of talent. It would probably be a matter of polish and ambition, I guess, is the two biggest factors that you have to look into it. Is it something you want to do? Is it something you want to put the time across, or anything like that? Like me, like Sean could probably attest to this, like I'm not the highest ambition person when it comes to this guy, like when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like You know, they were like, why don't you have a restaurant and everything like that? I was like, well, because the way I have it set up right now, I don't do as much. You know, it's like I probably could make more money. I probably could do this and that differently and everything like that. But I take like the easier path when it comes to things, and it's worked out pretty well so far. I'm a pretty happy person when it comes to it. Like even like with the relationship I'm in, like you know, get to see my girlfriend once, one weekend a month or something like that. That's enough for me. I don't need that day in day out companionship. That sounds exhausting. But like I said, that's just my thing. But I guess like the larger thing at play is, uh, like I said, if the ambition's there to actually get it done. Like for me, like I like real world as it is. Like I like it as a escape activity. Like after I fell out of real world, like I got into role playing in different games and stuff like that. And it's like it's a nice little escape. Like it's a nice little, not necessarily an escape, but like a hobby. Like you know, I used to fish and tie flies and stuff like that. It's like yeah, I kind of, it's a creative outlet for things. Um, Turning it into a job, not necessarily a job, but like a thing with deadlines and I don't know, like you know that might I don't want to say it will or it won't, but it's like that at least has the potential to lead to a little bit of, I don't want to say burnout, because you know it's like it's one of those, I get like the best way to say it is if you're passionate about it, I'd say go for it. Like for me, like I'd probably be willing to help, but like definitely not, you know, I would be, I'd like to help her, you know, where I can, but I can't promise that like I'll be anywhere near as ambitious as some of you might be about it. Um, for me, it's still very much a hobby that I enjoy. Like I said, I love the stories and everything like that, but I never considered myself like an author or a storyteller in the regards of writing something down for the masses. Like if they enjoy it, that's awesome. If you know, if we can put something together and everything like that, you can put my name on a footnote if you. I won't be overly offended. But yeah, like I said, that's just like kind of my take on it. Sounds like a cool idea. I'll be interested to see how it plays out, and I'll definitely be willing to help out some. But like I said, just we'll see how it goes. And I said a lot of this might be an answer to address and the stuff I haven't read yet, but I can't sleep because laying down right now gets me coughing and congested. So I was like, might as well watch a couple more videos and then record one to put something out there. Sounds like a cool idea. I'm anxious to see. Uh, here, here's my suggestion. My selfish suggestion. How about we get those real world sessions per week numbers up, and then we can worry about messing around with a thing for the masses. Screw all those other people. I want to get me and mine. Cass needs to get some play session. Emerus needs to get some play sessions in there. Drayden, yeah, man, I got 3 characters lined up, ready to play, and haven't had too much time. So like, you know, it's like if the choice is up to me, like I'd sign up for more real world before putting out a story for the masses. Like that's just like that's my take on real world and stuff like that. Like don't get me wrong, I think that we as DMs and players have experienced and told better stories than a lot of the cinema that's out there. I think that I watch a lot of, well, I don't want to say I go through phases where I watch lots of movies where like I'll play catch up and stuff like that on a year or so, and I'll binge watch like a bunch of movies and at night if I after my girlfriend goes to sleep. So I was like I'll watch movies for like 2 to 4 hours or something like that. Wow. Because everyone else is asleep, and it's like, yeah, you know, like there's a lot of mediocre stories out there, and like there's a lot of stories that verge on something good but just execute themselves poorly. Like they you know, whether it's like Mary Sueism, which I think like we can largely avoid, because like you know, we write pretty good struggles, I think, when it comes to things. But like, yeah, like there's a lot of things I think that kind of are on the verge, like the constant, like Bright, I think is a good example of that. Now some people might like Bright, some people might not have liked it. I thought it was a interesting universe to play in, but the story itself was not executed well. Um, I thought it could have been a lot better. Not to say that, you know, I could have done better personally. Just I saw things that in my mind that I was like, oh, you could have done this and that. Like we always talk about like the Harry Potter magic system and how terrible it is. It's like there's books out there on like or like things on like how to write a magic system, like how to do that. And it's like Harry Potter just was awful. And Vatican Dap completely broke the system. But yeah, like I said, there's stuff like that. Like I feel like definitely from real world we can, especially in fantasy settings like that, we can probably tell a better story than a lot of the fantasy stories are out there. So I'm definitely curious to see how it plays out. I've rambled on for quite a bit. Hopefully you people going to work for your morning drives or anything like that have something to listen to when this uploads. Alright, you guys have a good one.